Okay. So it says Grant needs 2/3 of a cup of raisins and 3/4 of a cup of almonds to make trail mix. Which statement can be used to find out if there are more raisins or more almonds? So before we look at all of our answers, I want you to compare these fractions on your whiteboard. And let's figure it out for ourselves. What do we have to do with these denominators?
We have to change the smallest one.
Common denominator.
Well,
Common.
multiply them by 3 and 4.
Okay, we have to find common denominator first. And our common denominator is going to be
3.
when we skip. So to find an easy way to find common denominators, think of your multiples. So our multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And I can keep counting. And then multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16. So our least common multiple,
Is 2.
Cole, please. Our least common multiple is 12. So we're going to change both of these fractions to have a multiple of 12. Good job, Rylan. Thank you, Bailey. Bailey, how do you go from 3 to 12? What do you do?
Times 4.
Okay, so 2 times 4 gives us
8.
8. Awesome. How do we go from 4 to 12?
Times 3.
Times 3. So Liam, I have to do 3 times 3 and I get 9. Okay. So now our two fractions are 8/12 and 9/12. Which one is greater? 9/12. And the 9/12 is equal to 3/4. What does that represent? The raisins or the almonds? Almonds. Okay. So there's more almonds. Let's read and see these. Does 2/3 equal 8/12? Yes. And does 3/4 equal 9/12? Yes. So A. Let's look through the rest of them. Does 2/3 equal 4/6?
No.
No. Does 2/3 equal 6/9? No. Does 2/3 equal 6/9? No. So the only correct answer is A. Okay? Okay, on your whiteboard, I want you to compare 2/5 and 4/10. The book is telling us that it is, what does the symbol mean? Greater than. So I want you to figure it out on your own and let me know what you got.
Okay.
Do we change the 2/5 or the 4/10? 2/5. I need to make it a fraction with a common denominator of 10. How do we go from 5 to 10?
Times 2.
So 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 2/10 is equal to 4/10, and we have 4/10 here, so what goes in our box?
Equal.
Equal. So is this true or false?
False.
False. Good. Let's work out C.
Okay.
Okay. We have 1/2 is greater than 2/3. Go ahead and work that. We have 1/2. We're comparing it to 3/8. What did you guys put for a common denominator?
1/2. No, so it's supposed to be 1/2.
Oh, it's supposed to be 1/2. Thank you. What did you guys put for a common denominator? Actually, there's two ways to do this. Who found common denominator? Okay. Who used 1/2 as a benchmark? Good. Remember, 1/2 as a benchmark. This is 1/2 already, right? So we don't have to do anything to that. Let's figure out what would 1/2 of this be. So we're going to cut the denominator in half. What's half of 8? 4. So is 3/8 greater or less than 1/2? Less than 1/2. So the smaller one, the 3/8 would be smaller. So that would go like that. So you can either do this two ways. You can find common denominator, or you can use 1/2 as a benchmark, okay? So C would be true or false? True. Jack? Let's do E. We have 30 100ths equals 3/10. Which fraction are you guys going to change?
3/10.
3/10.
Oh, we already did.
Jordan, how do I go from 10 to 100?
10 to 100 times 10.
Okay, so 3 I have to multiply by 10, 2, and I get 30. So these fractions they are equal. So E is true. Good. Let's do some extra practice on your whiteboard. When we are talking about using like 1/2 as a benchmark, right? Here's our number line. I have 0. I have 1. I have right here 1/2 in the middle. If I give you a fraction of 2/8, where is that going to go on my number line?
Before 1/2.
Before 1/2. It's less than 1/2. We know that because if I was to write 2/8 on my if I was to find 1/2 on my number line, what's half of 8? 4. So 1/2 is equal to 4/8. And 2 is greater or less than 4? Less than 4, so 2/8 would be here on my number line. Okay? What if I had the fraction 8/8? What is 8/8 equal to?
8/8 is a whole.
1 whole, right? That means that if you had 8 pieces and your little brother ate all of them, he ate the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes. 8 the whole thing. Okay. Let's do number 3.
Another 8.
We're comparing 5/10 and 5/8. We don't have to do common denominator with this. What's the rule about? We can do benchmark, but they both have the same numerator. So when they have the same numerator, but the different denominator, the rule is the bigger the number, the smaller the pieces.
It's equal.
So the bigger the number, the smaller the pieces. 5/10 is equal to 1/2, right guys?
Yes.
So let's figure out what 1/2 of 5/8 would be.
4.
8 4/8. This is greater than 1/2. So you can do this 2 ways. You can think of which one is greater than 1/2 by using benchmark, or you know that the bigger the number, the smaller the pieces. So if you had 1 candy bar, or 2 candy bars, and you broke up one up into 10 pieces and one up into 8 pieces, what pieces would be bigger, the 10ths or the 8ths?
8.
The 8ths, okay? Okay, let's do number 6. Draw these boxes on your board. Draw 2 boxes. It says Rachel and Sierra are selling boxes of fruit as a fundraiser. Rachel sold 9/10 of her boxes and Sierra sold 5/8. Which girl sold the greatest fraction of her boxes? It wants us to draw a model and show her work. So we'll put an R here for Rachel and an S here for Sierra. How many pieces do we need to break Rachel's box up into? 10. Okay, so sometimes when you're drawing, it's hard to make them equal, but there's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And how many do we shade in? 9. Okay. How many pieces is Sierra's box broken up into? 8 whole pieces. Okay, and then how many are we going to shade in? 5. So there's a model, but let's also compare them. We have 9/10, and we're going to compare it to 5/8. We got to find common denominator. Think about when you skip count by 8.
Benchmark?
Well, let's find our least common multiple. So if we skip count by 8, we have 8, 16, what comes next? 24, 32, 40, 48. Let's count by 10. 10, 20, 30, 40. What's our least common multiple? 40. So now we need to change each of those to have a common denominator of 40. So 9/10 has a common denominator of 40, and 5/8 has a common denominator of 40. Find your missing numerators. Bridger, how do we go from 10 to 40?
Times 4.
Okay, so what's 9 times 4?
36.
36. Good. How do we go from 8 to 40? We multiply by 5. So what's 5 times 5? 25. So which fraction is greater, 9/10 or 5/8? 9/10. Okay. And we did this because the directions said to do what? Draw a model and to show our answer, which means to do this. Okay. So who sold the greater fraction of their box? Rachel. Good.